Porn Stars are People Podcast. I'm Dan Friggin' I'm here with Elena Koshka. Thank you for being here. Literally, as we started, I got a random foreign knock on the door and had to deal with that. So I apologize. Thank you for meeting me digitally here. This is fun. Where are you? Tell the people what's happening, where you are.
I'm in California by the ocean, and I'm in my office.
I love, that's my favorite, is the amount of secrecy. You're like, I'm near stuff in a state by things. That's all you need to know. Okay. This didn't make it on camera, but you may or may not have been talking to your plants. Can you tell us what's behind you and whether or not they have names and how you keep them alive?
I just conquered my aphid situation that I had, so that's a win. I do play like YouTube has plant music, so I'll play that for them sometimes. And
it's what kind of plant music?
This YouTube has plant music that's like vibrational, positive vibrations.
No kidding. Is it working?
I have some new sprouts coming, but that could be from like the banana peels and eggshells I've been putting in their dirt. So
you've been putting everything, and you're like, some of it's working, not sure which, but I'm not going to stop anything.
Yeah, I'm testing stuff out. And then I started, let me show you. I'm propagating some, so I go on bike rides with my dog, and I'll just like drive by and snag succulents from my neighbor's yard.
Can you do that? Is that okay?
Yeah. What?
Can you stealing plants? I'm for it. I'm not judging you.
Not the plants. I mean, I'll take like a little succulent. Like all you need is a leaf. Like all you need is a little leaf, and then you plant it, and it'll supposedly grow. But I need to wait like 6 more weeks to see if that's gonna come. And then like this one was by the beach, and I got a big stem of it. So we'll see.
That's great. I like that. I want to do the thing where I hang like creeping plants over the bed, but I keep accidentally like killing them because I think I overwater them more than I underwater them, and so I keep seeing like creeping vines places, and I want to do what you're doing. I want to just like pull it up, but I don't really know how to do that. I don't have enough knowledge, and I don't have the climate that you have. So like I got a small window before it's winter, and then I'm screwed anyway.
I have these lights that. You know, because I only have these two. I mean, sometimes the sun doesn't really get in, so I just turn on those lights, and it feeds them throughout the whole year.
Yeah.
Supposedly.
Well, you're crushing it. You got everything. You got it all figured out. Well, thanks for being here. What has been happening with you? I hate that every aspect of conversation these last 3 months, 4 months has become the pandemic. But are you working at the level that you want to be working? Have you figured out new avenues with your career that like you didn't think you would be into?
My life really hasn't changed, to be honest. I've always wanted to work from home, so now I guess I'm more active on OnlyFans, which like before I'd have like 3 or 4 uploads a month, but now I'm like planning shoots with other performers, which is cool. And I do my social media consulting job on the side, which has always been there. I just do people's Instagram and Twitter accounts. So that hasn't changed. I've just been doing plant stuff, and I make edibles on the side.
Oh, no kidding. Oh, that's very cool. Yeah, a lot of legal weed laws like got held back because we went into pandemic. Because like I think Jersey and New York were supposed to vote on it. You've been in California in the legal state for a long time, but like the whole dynamic is about to change with everybody else getting into the game. But yeah, I think a lot of so comedians are the same way, where we've all figured out, like every comedian I know has become a TikTok star now. So we've all like come up with new like processes of how to be successful from home. But you guys, I feel like the porn industry, you guys were set up already. Like you were already there, ready to rock.
Right. And I can work for myself.
Basically nothing basically changed. Let me ask this. This is a fun question I've been doing on my Zoom shows on Fridays is, on television now, they're starting to put on game shows that are basically just games we played as kids. So like right now on Fox, there's a game called Ultimate Tag, and it's just grown adults, athletic adults playing tag. And then they have the floor is lava, which is where you jump from couch to couch and everything. Did you play any games as a kid? And would any of those games you think be good for television now?
There was Baba Kutya and Kolechka Kolechka. I don't know if you know any Russian people.
No. What is that?
Baba Kutya is just like essentially you're blindfolded and you try to tag people. And it's like Baba Kutya is this like Russian like old lady that eats bad kids, I guess.
Those are two different games.
Yeah, and then Kolechka Kolechka is like you have a little like ring or candy or something in your hand and you go, it's like Duck Duck Goose, essentially. And you go through everyone's hands and they have their hands like this, waiting to catch something if you drop it in. And if you drop the treat in their hand, like I guess you run around in a circle or something.
It is funny when we're trying to like recall these games. We're like, you know what my favorite game was? And then we're like, what were the rules of that game? The rules were mostly just be like a lunatic kid. And so the first one was like Marco Polo, not in the water.
I've never played that.
Marco Polo is where you're in a pool, and one person closes their eyes and they say Marco, and then all the other kids yell Polo, and you have to try to tag them under like in the water with potential danger. So in Russia they were like, we're not going to go in the water because obviously it's Russia, so we're just going to do it on land, which is way more dangerous.
Yeah, there's obstacles.
Like trees.
There's more. There's like two more.
Two more games?
Yeah, that I would like to mention if that's okay.
Please.
I don't know what it's called, but there's one where we'd wrap ourselves in a lot of blankets, lying flat on the floor, and then try to stand up without getting the blankets off of us.
Interesting.
And like Heads Up 7-Up equivalent, so never mind.
Heads Up 7-Up was my favorite game in like elementary school. Once they like finally like let us know what that game was, then we were like, we don't want to do school anymore. So you're a big cyclist, did I get that right? You said you were looking to steal plans.
Yeah. I take my dog. If I wasn't for my dog, I would just sit inside all day, but she was kind of like, I feel bad when she sits in my one-bedroom apartment and stares at the wall all day, so then I'll go out with her, and I put her in my basket on my bike, and we just
go. You're the lady from Wizard of Oz.
I guess.
You're the witch from Wizard of Oz with the lady. No, Dorothy had the dog in the basket. You're the good one.
Thank you.
My dog's too big for a basket, so we always tried to do the like bike next to each other thing, and she didn't understand it at first, so I made a mistake of like I ran over like one of her little toes right away, the first thing, and then after that for the next years she's like, we're not doing bikes. I don't know what you're thinking. You're not smart enough to do a bike with me, so we're not doing it. And so I like that. So she's at home in the front and just in the basket, she's just chilling.
Yeah, and I have a little blanket in there, and she puts her paws up and looks around at everything, like closes her eyes, and just has a good time.
Just takes it and just takes the wind in the face.
Yeah, we'll go up to the beach and take like the bike path along. Yeah. So.
Are you one of these people that's like incessant about tracking? Are you biking for fun? Are you tracking it like with a thing? You're like, I did this many miles today.
No, I just bike for fun.
You never know. So you're on you're on the tall end of the spectrum for women.
Yes.
What does this create socially with people? Do people get nervous around you because you're taller than you're taller than the average guy, right? So then that becomes like
I've always dated shorter guys, so it doesn't really bother me. If anything, I think it boosts up their confidence because they're like, oh, I got this tall chick, and like they want me to wear heels when I go out.
Right. Yeah, because they're right. They're like coming after it from that perspective. Well, I'm not any problems. I'm confident. I'm good. You be you tall you. Be 6'6" you.
Yeah. It's cool, I guess. But I always slouched growing up in school. Like I was always the tallest one, so I did that for majority of my.
Yeah, I feel bad. It was never like, even just looking back, like I think we called the tallest girl in our school Big Bird. It's so mean. It's like, I don't understand why we wanted women not to be tall in elementary school.
If something's different, we're not accustomed to it. I guess by nature we gravitate towards. I don't know. Never mind.
But no, but then we look at later in life, and a tall woman is like, it's the thing that catches our eye from anywhere. It's like we see somebody tall, and we're like, oh my God, who is that? Like I remember I saw an almost 7-foot woman once, and I remember everything about the experience, because she had to like duck to get into the doorway, and we were like, oh my God, who is this goddess? Who is like, what is her story? What was she doing right before? That's the thing, is when we see tall people, we think that they were doing something more important right before we saw them, because they're taller than us, and like they must have been dunking. They must have been playing basketball all day. Right, we just like assume tall people have all these.
That's all I get asked if I do softball or basketball. I was like, no, I just did online PE growing up. So.
What's online PE?
You like go for runs and log your hours and your heart rate and stuff like that. But
is that how you went to school?
Yeah, I did some online classes.
No kidding.
For a while, so socially awkward as well because of it. Thank you.
I don't think you're as socially awkward as you claim to be.
Okay.
All right. So you said pretty much that if not for your dog, you would have gone full hermit status.
Yeah.
Do you cook? Are you all Uber Eats? How are you surviving this part of Don't Leave the House?
Oh, I should show you.
Please take us. Yeah.
Well, I can't take you, but can I run
get stuff? I'm fine with that too.
Okay, 1 second.
So that's Elena Koshka. She's in California. Look at these beautiful plants, man. I'm very envious of the ability to grow these things and be successful. I don't know why. There's nothing more frustrating than killing all your plants. You feel like a complete failure. All right, what am I looking at?
This is my food for like 2 months, probably.
What?
Okay, so what I do, let me just do one at a time.
Are you a robot?
So.
Are you some kind of alien? Okay, so what is that? That's like a rose thing?
Well, it's rose mold, but. So that's just like a little rosemary stuck at the top. But what I do is, because when you cook with herbs, they're always dry. You can never get the full nutrients from the herb. So what I do is I just buy a whole bunch of fresh herbs, blend it up with like either a curry base or like a V8 splash sometimes, or if I want like sweet, I'll do like a coconut water base on like this half with like ginger and turmeric. And like in the morning, I'll just take one of these guys, put it in the blender.
Yeah.
It looks really gross, but
oh, that's good.
And then I blend it up and I drink it.
What do you blend it with?
Like this morning I had one, and I put it with I make homemade kombucha with a little bit of green dragon marijuana tincture in it. Just like 2 drops. So I put that in with it. Because it's a little sweet one. I wanted something sweet this morning.
This is fantastic. I like
mushroom, bro.
I'm just like a normal person. Like, hang on, let me show you how I'm still growing as an adult and how I'm getting healthier every day. You grow all your own things. Do you think you could live off grid? It looks like you're ready.
I have a generator and like survival food and like get out backpacks and stuff.
No kidding.
That's by the water, and like we have earthquakes a lot, and I know I'm like less than a mile from the ocean, so I know when that 8 point whatever Richter scale thing hits, then like I gotta have a raft, I gotta get to the roof, and I gotta have a life jacket.
Wow, you got it all figured out. This is what I realized the other day. I'm one of these people that watches all the survival shows thinking that like I figured out how to survive. And then I realized that all the skills that I learned on those shows don't apply to the pandemic, right? It's like, I know how to make a fire out of sticks. Like, how is that useful in my apartment for 5 months? Like I'm just here and I'm like, can I make a fire? I'll make a fire in the living room. Is that helpful? No, it's not helpful. So you got to figure it out. You could legit make it happen. You have a generator. So you make your own food. You have a raft in the apartment.
It's a little inflatable thing.
But is it a push button, or are you going to be on the roof like trying to blow it up?
It's a push button.
Is it really? This is incredible. I don't know. You're very humble about how incredible your survival skills already are.
I'm just a paranoid person.
That's good. The thing is, it was paranoid 50 years ago, now it's very, very likely. Like my folks are talking about
the Great Depression.
The Great Depression. But it's beyond because now we have the Great Depression. We have the pandemic of 1911. We have hurricanes that are going to devastate. There was a hurricane in New York City on Monday. Like this is where we're at. Like the planet has decided it doesn't want us anymore.
Because we're leeches and we just suck the life out of it.
What's the line from the Matrix? We're the virus. We are the pandemic of the planet. We are the coronavirus of Earth.
That's bad.
That's been my short-term goal, which is becoming a long-term goal with all the changes, is to figure out how to get off grid and grow my own stuff. I was very excited. I almost grew garlic and then I messed it up. You're in the perfect climate for all the things.
Like I want to have a bunker and live underground. Like when shit hits the fan, just like we're out of here like a little cockroach.
Yeah, just like in Oklahoma where there's nothing there, where there's no ocean.
Right. Or Montana. I mean, yeah. Okay. I'm just anywhere.
Yeah, Wyoming will do. Wyoming's perfect. Wyoming's pretty.
And grow my own vegetation without pesticides and hormones, and just be like. I'm from Oregon. That's where I was born, so I kind of want to go back there and like, just pitch a tent.
Yeah. Which part of Oregon?
Beaverton, but then Portland, and my parents moved over the bridge up to Washington because all the Russians live there. So. Oh, no kidding. That's where they are now.
They've re-assimilated to their people.
Sadly, yes.
Why is it sadly?
They're everywhere.
You just because you didn't live that life. You were not. Your parents are immigrants, but you're not an immigrant.
Yeah, and they don't know that I know like what they're saying, and like Russians just always talk shit about the people in public in Russian, not knowing that the person might know Russian and know exactly what they're saying.
Right.
Oh my God.
Yeah, there's something. Yeah, something about the movement of immigrants has changed a lot. It is interesting being the first generation that's here. And it's interesting because I've been going back through the thing. I was interviewing my grandfather, and we were doing all this family tree stuff. So he was the first generation here as Italians. And every group of people that gets here, that next generation, it's the same vibe. It's just like you just want to fit in. You just want to be an American. You want to like figure out how to be part of this culture. And your folks are a lot of times stuck. And they're like, no, it was better in Italy, and that's how we're doing it here in this house. And it's always that push pull. So yeah, so they're back with their people. They've just a little Russia in Washington.
A big church called Salamita. My parents don't go there, but we all got married within that church, and it's just like a whole.
It's fun to have community, I suppose. Is California still where you're supposed to be locked down? Because you guys got outrageous numbers again.
I don't know.
Are you allowed to leave or not? Yeah.
I go out to Joshua Tree. There's a 2.5 acre lot out there with an Airstream with full hookups, and I'll kind of escape to. Like when COVID first hit, I was like, I'm out of here. But then living in the desert's a nightmare, so I was like, I'm just gonna kind of do both. And
so you have your own trailer. Or you go rent a trailer.
It's a friend trailer.
Nice.
So.
Do you shoot in the trailer as well?
Like OnlyFans stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've done OnlyFans and like stuff for Vision, like the mainstream thing that I do on the side.
Yeah. Nice.
It's nice lighting, a lot of windows.
Right. So wait, it's just covered in windows trailer? I never would have thought that would be a good production vehicle.
It's a great production. I don't know, it's like a Chipotle burrito with windows.
It's like a burrito with windows, yeah. I think that was their ad campaign in the 80s, actually.
Sorry, I said that. Brand.
So what? Airstream? You're fine. It's not. They're not. I'm not going to get a letter from Airstream. I promise. I'm not going to get a letter from Airstream. I'm not going to get a letter from Yeti. We're going to be fine. Let's just introduce us. Let's do this.
This is Luna.
Luna.
I've had her since she was 8 weeks old.
And she's how old now?
She's 4. She's looking at my pre-made food.
Oh, she wants it. Yeah, is this stuff going to melt once over there? So the first one is a blender thing. What's the second one? What's the rose thing?
That's also, so that one I blended in like my Ninja, but it's not like the fine blending thing. It's like kind of thicker, more coarse, and like fibers from the thyme and the like mint leaves, like this. I put the sticks in there too because it's like the most healthiest part.
So you go straight to blender, straight to mouth. No, you don't add any other liquid.
In here?
Yeah.
There is some Bulgarian yogurt, like a little bit, just so I can get that, like probiotics and some flax seeds and other things. But I'll put this in a blender, like a more finer blender that I have with some kind of a liquid, just make like a little shot of it or just sip on it throughout the day. But it's pretty on this side.
It is very pretty, yeah. This should be your business. This should be part of it. So like a lot of people get like weird requests, like the foot pick requests and like buy my old clothes. Are people trying to buy your food concoctions? This seems like it could be a solid business.
No, but I've had fans that are interested in like trying my kombucha because I put it on like my TikTok videos and stuff, like how I'm making it. But my edibles, yeah, there's people, but I don't want to ship marijuana products over state lines, so there's that.
Yeah. What would it take for you to start your own kombucha? What would it be? Koshka kombucha?
Koshka bucha.
Koshka bucha? I like that.
Sounds Italian.
or could become Koshka. Like you don't like that one. Not your favorite one. So you don't eat solid food ever.
I'll go to like Plant Food and Wine, this vegan restaurant that's fancy, yeah. Or I do love sushi with all my heart.
Yeah.
So I will allow myself that. She likes California rolls and salmon sashimi, and
okay, yeah,
we'll nibble on that.
Yeah, dogs will absolutely crush a sushi plate without any.
She's a finicky eater. She only eats human food, and she's really
right. Well, honestly, that's how I feel about you. I mean, you're already on the healthier end of the spectrum, right? So that's how I feel about feeding my dog. Anyway, it's like people, that old expression when they go, "I wouldn't feed that to my dog." Oh, yeah, I wouldn't. Yeah, if that's like dog, whatever's in dog food, most of the time is not good. So most of the time, I'm making this one like sweet potatoes. She's getting like zucchini, carrots. She loves eggs. Like she's right there. Yeah, she would love me to make her a salmon plate. That's like her dream. That's what she's dreaming about right now, actually.
That's why
what is it? Go ahead.
All these pets have like cancer and like all these diseases, and it's just like a money thing where the vet, like they just give them actual living food, not dry shit that doesn't go rotten for years in a bag. What? Would you eat that? No. Right.
The one that blew my mind away was when I never had a dog. So when I first got it, everybody was like, oh, just give Purina puppy chow. That's what the puppy needs. So she was on Purina puppy chow for like a day and a half before I started reading the box. And I was like, oh my God, this is like mostly cardboard and like filler.
Just fillers,
like, it's like what you feed a chicken when you want to get it really fat so that you could sell it at a market. And I was like, none of this is real. None of this is food. There's no way my dog's on there.
And they'll have a picture of carrots and chicken on the front. Why not just feed that to your dog and skip the processed shit? Like, I don't know.
Right. And it is. There is an enjoyment to cooking for your dog.
It's a bonding, definitely.
Well, it's the same thing. It's like cooking for your lady or for your guy. It's like, it's like, although, if I cook for my lady, she's not just sitting on the floor staring at me, hoping that I'm done soon. But that's what my dog does. But it is fun. You can see the admiration in her eyes, and she knows. This is what's weird. Sometimes, we run out of it. I feed her like food that's real food, dog food, but it's dog food, and
so it's gizzards, like dehydrated gizzards.
Yeah, like first ingredient is like food. Like sweet potatoes, like whatever, and so, but sometimes we're out, and then I'll wake up in the morning and I'll start cooking eggs, and it's like somehow subliminally she knows those are her eggs, because whatever day that we're out of food, she just knows. So she's just chilling. She's like, these eggs, these sweet potatoes, this is for me for sure. So yesterday she got cabbage, zucchini, sweet potatoes, eggs. And had a beautiful breakfast. So wait, you never finished. So you had her 8 weeks, or since she was 8 weeks. How old is she now?
4.5. Probably.
4.5 years. What's her worst habit that you've decided is fine?
She only does one thing, and that's because she's independent. Like let me see. Like if she's like biting at her paw, I'll try to move her face and she'll like growl at me and I'm like, okay, fine, do your thing. Or when we're walking outside and I want her to go a certain direction, but she wants to go another one, she'll growl at me if I try to like yank her. I'm like, okay, just do your thing. She's like,
Oh, no kidding.
I'm like, okay.
Yeah. So with that is funny. Mine's funny because she has a bad habit of when we'll go hiking, she has a bad habit of trying to eat poo. Like she eats like other animals' poo. And
I didn't even say that. That's a vitamin deficiency, and you should give her like tonic alchemy, dragon herbs stuff, and like.
Even if she's well fed, she will try to eat goose poo because whatever geese are eating, she wants that stuff. So she'll eat human poo if she gets a chance at it.
Send me your address and I will send you something to give her. And you can send me your address later and I will send you something.
Okay, I appreciate that. And so, so she'll do this thing where when she smells the thing that she's not supposed to go after, she knows that I'm paying attention. So she'll do this thing where she'll like pretend like she doesn't know what she's doing. Right? She'll just sort of like meander over there and then she'll kind of like check, and if nothing, then she'll go after it. Or it's like, and if I catch her right before she like tries to eat this thing, I'll be like, hey, and then she'll just be like, I wasn't gonna do that. Like I was not even, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, I'm not that kind of person. It's my favorite thing she does.
Her personality.
Yeah. She's like, that's not how I roll. And it's like, I know exactly what you were thinking and I know what you were gonna do.
Back nose.
So you guys do the bike thing. So if you should happen to try to go biking without your dog, does she like freak out on you, or what's the?
I never leave her home alone.
You wouldn't do it, yeah.
Like when she was a puppy and I would be shooting consistently, then she would be fine at home. But now since I quit shooting kind of like 2 years ago, or if I'll do like select companies here and there, she's gotten used to me being home with her, taking her with me. I have like her emotional support and like another service dog thing. It was like almost $1,000 altogether for these 2 certifications. So I'm hoping California doesn't like get stricter pet laws, but I take her in my purse. No one really knows that she's in there.
Right.
Yeah, I take her with me. And when I go jogging in the morning, if it's like 7 a.m. like I did this morning, she's still asleep till like 10, so I don't feel bad leaving her at home in bed.
She sleeps till 10?
Yeah, I mean, I'm in bed all day pretty much on my phone and laptop, so.
She has a better life than I do. Wait, so you said you stopped shooting 2 years ago?
Yeah, but then like I'll shoot for select companies here and there, like people that I like.
Right.
But I'm not like with my agent anymore. I'm not like being booked like crazy like I was before.
Is your plan to? It's weird because it's like it's like the opposite of a lot of professions where like you kind of just want to front load your career and then just kind of coast from there, build some fans, right, and then just create some consistent content.
Yeah.
Do you think that you've done that? Do you have like, is it the kind of thing where you like plan like, okay, I got 3 more years of doing an OnlyFans and then I'm out, or how do you plan that process, or are you just kind of winging it? What's your
like my OnlyFans only recently started getting more traction. I just had like stuff, but after I'm always building something else on the side, and my OnlyFans is like funding that.
Sure.
So yeah.
It is so I guess at which point are you going to become bored or disinterested or with OnlyFans, or can you see yourself running it for 10, 15 years more?
I was bored with it. Like after I quit porn, I kind of like let myself go, and I was like eating whatever the fudge I wanted, like finally, and like sleeping all the time because when I was shooting, I was like always up crazy hours or traveling and all that stuff. So I kind of like after I quit, I gave myself like 5-6 months to just like chill the fuck out. Right. But now I'm like getting back into shape, and but I don't know what the future holds, if there's even going to be a future. So I just kind of take one day at a time, and there's always opportunities. I've never had, like growing up, I did Mary Kay, I did like Amway and Avon, and like always some kind of multi-level marketing. Like there's always so much jobs to be done. I've never had to ask for money, or like even before sex work came into the picture. Like I've had friends who start GoFundMe's because they're like single moms, and I'm like, why would you? I don't know. Like you can webcam from home, or you can.
The amount of time that it took to make the GoFundMe, you could have been putting in.
Like my eggs alone, like I can always fall back on selling an egg. Hello, like I don't like the idea of it, but that's like 35,000 tops, or like you know, parts of my body. That's a lot in the black market. So.
Oh yeah, you've looked into that. What's the going rate on your liver right now, or a piece of your liver? Obviously, you need most of it.
I think it's like 55,000.
Do you know that for sure? Are you making up a number?
It's a list though. Like my mom's getting a hysterectomy in a week, and I was like, Mom, instead of just giving it to the hospital, make them pay you for your insides. Like, hello.
Is that a real thing? Can you sell your entire reproductive system as a woman?
And a man. Like your left testicle is worth more than your right testicle. I don't understand.
Right? I don't know where you get this. I don't know where you get this list, but I really want it. I really want this to be like I want to put this on the screen with the edit. How much is my left testicle worth? And I'm left-handed, so does that mean it's reversed now? Does that mean because I'm left-handed, most people are right-handed, then my right testicle is the better testicle?
I don't know. I feel like it's like 13,000. I looked at it twice in a day, and that's about it. So like I'm trying to recall.
No kidding. It's harsh. It's funny because that I like the idea that there's somebody out there that like sold their ball because they were like, I don't know what I'm going to do during the pandemic. It's going to be crazy. And then like right after they sold their ball, then the stimulus package came and they were like, I was fine the whole time.
I know guys with one ball that they've lost like while skateboarding or some stupid accident. It's like you've gotten money for that instead of
if you lose your ball though, you got to make sure it's like a worthwhile story because like that's going to come up a bunch in your life and you got to be able to like tell a fun one about it. Like shoplifting and hopping a fence is not the best version of the I lost my ball story. You need like shot out of a cannon.
Something cool. But my resume is really good, so I'm never worried about my future. And I know people, and I like to help. I like startups. I like to help people with startups. So I'm always.
The big fear, I would say, one circulation before your generation in porn was that if you do porn, you can never do any other work again. Have you ever been hired for a mainstream job where somehow it came up or somehow put you in a position where you couldn't complete the duties because they didn't like what you did in the past?
I'm really afraid of that. I haven't encountered it yet because in my day-to-day life, I don't look like a porn star or I don't carry myself like that. Like no one would suspect. So but I do feel like if I did have an opportunity, like a mainstream one, I would feel guilty not coming out about that because that could potentially harm the brand or something like that. So unless I totally changed my look and like no one could tell.
Yeah. No. So you bring up your morality is so strong that you're overshooting a little bit because I don't know that. So here's an example of like it's not harmful being associated with a sex positive thing. I host this podcast. I went to do a church show where I'm hired to do a church show for kids, G-rated show. I know that it's a G-rated show. I'm fine with all those things. The priest comes up to me an hour before the show and he says, hey, do you do porn? And I said, oh no, I host a podcast that's an acceptance podcast about talking to people and sort of trying to push beyond the stigma of the industry. And he's like, okay, let me talk to my people. And then he came back and said, because you host this podcast, you can't do my church show that's G-rated. And it's like, there's no circumstance where my involvement in that show looks bad on the parish.
Like you're not wholesome anymore.
Yeah, but it's like, but like the whole vibe of that church in particular was like acceptance and now
they're contradicting themselves.
Right. And it actually became a whole thing, and the priest might end up getting fired over this whole ordeal. But it's like, so to your point, it's, I don't know. Have you had a video where you were like, if anybody sees this video, I definitely can't sell Vlasic pickles anymore. Like, there's not like, you know what I mean, like.
In terms of my porn videos,
you said if it puts the brand in jeopardy, but I don't think that you've done anything on camera that would put a brand in jeopardy.
I've done porn, but
Yeah, but would that put a brand in jeopardy?
Like banks don't want to be affiliated with us. If they find out that we do porn, like girls, like there's you have to do like underground like money transferring because certain bank entities don't. Like Wells Fargo is really like Christian or like religious.
So that is a weird one, right? So then when you do the campsites and stuff like that, are there places you can't send money to because it's going to come from an OnlyFans transfer and that's going to black you out?
I haven't encountered that yet, but I've heard of such things.
That's wild. That's
and like girls are really poor and then they live in Idaho and then they move to LA and all of a sudden there's like their bank's like, oh, why do you have thousands of dollars now? Like that's a red flag, and kind of dig deeper and they find out, and then like
interesting.
That's just what I've heard. I haven't encountered that yet.
Yeah. Well, knock on some wood if you believe in that.
And again, I've always ventured off and I've done different things, bad things in life, but I always come back to who I am.
Yeah.
So, I don't have to label it. I just like to be a good person, and I know that there is darkness out there, and like, especially now with like, I don't know if you're into like the adrenochrome and like pedogate, like all of the pedophilia that's happening with like the elites in the world. I don't know if you're into conspiracy theories or not.
I think we're finding out more and more that it's not a conspiracy theory. I think that there's a lot of things that are very clear, and a lot of information that's coming to light that's very, that's very legit. And the idea that we had of this weird Illuminati, people wearing like eyes wide shut masks and like eating human beings, which we thought was so far fetched, might not be as far fetched as what we thought it was. But how does that push into your faith? You're aware of these pockets of things that are happening, or?
Yeah, I guess like growing up with my mom, we'd have these like encounters in our Russian church where we'd go up into the mountains and be isolated from really technology and just like do like 24/7 prayers and stuff. And like last week I was like, Mom, can you like find me like a really good Bible? Because I just for peace of mind, I want it like on my nightstand just to keep like whatever. I don't want the devil near me. I don't know. It's like people do curses, and like, that's really big in Oregon. There's a lot of witches that live in Oregon. And like I go hiking and you just find like stapled cow tongues to trees and like just weird like witch, and that's a thing. And like anyways, like Mom, just I don't know, just find me a good Bible. Just I don't know. But anyway, these encounters we got in church, and like people would have like trauma they've experienced, or like I don't want to say like possession, but you see people walking outside in LA all the time, just like talking to like whatever the fuck they see. And that's a whole spiritual world that we are not like aware of because we don't see it. But I feel like there's spirits and stuff out there. But anyway, we would pray, and like my mom was one of the like leader ladies. It sounds like a total cult, but like
no, I'm listening. Yeah.
Like I would go there, and like the first like 2 or 3 times I went, I was like, it's traumatic because all of that comes out. Like it's like a 5-day thing of just like constant like prayer and yeah. Anyway, sorry.
No, this is great. Please, I appreciate you sharing this. So do you think, you said you keep coming back to that. Do you think that that's going to be that you're going to get more involved in that lifestyle and with your mother in those situations like later on in life?
I don't want to because I've gotten so comfortable in like my lukewarm, half good, half bad lifestyle that I have for myself.
Why do you? Yeah, you keep saying that. Why?
In like their eyes, I guess. I don't view it as bad, but like I don't know.
Do you have guilt to what another person's perception of
like internal conflict of like how I was raised versus how I am now?
Right.
Like, should I be looking down at myself? But like I know I shouldn't. Because like my community of people feel empowered by like our sexuality and our openness with that, which is cool and I love it. But at the same time, in the back of my head, it's always like my upbringing affects that. So
yeah, well, and then this is what I was talking about with the traditional values of being an immigrant too. The closer somebody is to another culture, the more they hang on to that thing, and a lot of these ideas that we've sort of decided societally are antiquated, still get held on to strong by a group of people that immigrates to another country, because it's like you have to hang on to some level of your identity, and a lot of times that's religious.
And I don't like that because it is like an inner conflict.
Yeah,
It's like this tradition though. Like there's no. It was like hard to like find the logic in religion.
well, so from the standpoint of being spiritual and feeling the world and things like that, you know as good as anybody that like your sexuality and the power that you have over it and being able to acknowledge it is not it's not a thing we're creating. That's the thing that we were given as human beings.
And I
Like,
shouldn't feel guilty for.
I was not a weirdly sexual little boy because of like factors outside of like that I experienced. Like that was just a thing that was in me. And your industry does a good job of making people feel accepting of their impulses, which we have been telling people for hundreds of years shouldn't be impulses. And it doesn't, it just like again, from whatever perspective you come from, whatever religion, whatever, it doesn't make sense that there are people that have these sexual impulses and then try to confidently own them, and then for us to like try to convince ourselves that they're somehow impure or against
in some way
against what it is to be a human being, because it's been happening forever, so we've labeled these people, but they've always been here, and sex positive people have always been here, and so we're finally getting an opportunity as humans to take those horns and repurpose them into a positive thing. So don't look at your empowerment with guilt.
Okay.
Because you're putting a lot of you're making a lot of people feel more comfortable with themselves, and sex is a big part of being a human being, and a big part of, once you get to the other levels for certain people, it's a big part of being married and being traditional in the values of whatever system you're in. So it all still ends up coming back around where sexuality is good.
And with my platform, since I get to reach people all over the world, sure, like the initial hook was or like sex and arousal, but again, like my whole life has been that like anywhere you go, I worked at 24-Hour Fitness for a good bit, and like every guy that comes in, so it's always that sexual attention. But anyway, from like the initial meetup, I can from there direct their life or be like a positive influence in their life and be more than just Elena Koshka to them. I can be like, I can help them out in other ways.
Sure.
So I never really want to, like, my sister asked me if she wanted me to, like, if I would ever delete my Twitter or Instagram. And I was like, honestly, no. I know it was based on porn, but, like, how else would I get so many followers and people that I can positively influence? I'm not licensed or anything. I have to help people. I don't know.
Yeah, but, when you dig in on people that are licensed, some of that is shenanigans, too. So it's not about having an outside company give you a piece of paper. It's about whether or not you're connecting with people. And if you're connecting with people, and that's the thing, like what you guys do and what comedians do, it's like, if it's working, if you go on stage, you don't get a laugh, you haven't figured it out. If you go on your OnlyFans and nobody subscribes, you got to make a change. That's not the case, right? People are following you. People are sharing. People appreciate what you have to say, right? Like, that's what I love about Twitter is and it's before Instagram, but it's like, it's 80% in your brain. And the fact that people get retweets, that's not just because they set foot pics, it's like it's what they're saying. There's foot pics on Twitter, but it's like, but it comes from what you're saying. And then you can appreciate that people care about your opinions and your thoughts. So that is the one strange upside of what otherwise is social media, which I think a lot of us are concerned is not great. But it is. When you work from home, what other opportunity? There's no other way to reach however many thousands of people you can reach with your phone and your thing in this day and age. So what do you?
I'm sorry that minister didn't let you do that interview with the kids and stuff.
I appreciate that. No, honestly, like I talk about it here, but the conversation went like this. He was like, "Listen, we're still gonna pay you, but I was like, we're good. Like, I was so nervous about this gig anyway. If you're gonna pay me and I don't have to do it, I'm totally fine. I got to hang out with my friend who was pregnant. Everything was all kosher. But yeah, it's sometimes it's nice to have that little moment because it refocuses what you're doing and why you're doing what you're doing, and it made me extra like committed to the message of the Born Stories of People podcast and trying to push that agenda that like being sex positive is where we need to get to. But I'm sorry that you're having that. So your family is aware of what you're involved in.
Yeah.
Do you think they'll ever find a place where you guys see eye to eye on its value?
I think we kind of do see eye to eye on it. And
Yeah.
what I mean, and its value, like, I mean, yeah, I've done a lot of like charity work. I bought my mom, like the first thing I did is I got my mom a new car because she had a really shitty car that always, so it's like I've helped my goddaughter and like went to Africa and did like that charity stuff. And then like it's definitely blessed me, and like, doesn't matter how you make it.
But will you ever will she ever think of the amount of people that you're positively affecting?
Oh, she doesn't know about all that.
Yeah.
She just sees like the using my body.
Right.
Part. Any job, you use your body. Like, I don't know.
That is the thing at the end of the day. It's like a good portion of professions are based on, and people that are fit for those professions are based on something. It's like, if you're a salesman, you got to be able to get in the door. Some effect of that is being attractive of whatever gender, right? You got to be, have some ability. And so for us to pretend like the physical body is not important and a resource just like intelligence is, would be, it's a lie. Like, it's always been that. Like, being presentable is part of being alive. And we did that, right? Deer don't necessarily. No, actually, that's not true either, because having more horns on a deer is sexy too. So every part of this comes around. Even a tree, like, everything about the way a tree connects with the world, and the tree with the tallest branch and the widest reach gets to be the biggest, strongest tree. So the physical appearance for all creatures is important. And that's why you've shaped your dog into that beautiful shape, is because that's the attention getting shape.
And we're more than our physical. And I feel like even when like the Bible says it's God's temple and all that stuff, I get it. But I'm not like defiling my temple by having a penis inside of me. I feel like that's what my vagina was meant for, and why not capitalize on that while I don't know. Just like a whole bunch of thought patterns and like different, I don't know.
Well, it's the discussion where you go, if this were wrong, then it wouldn't fit right. Right? Like, how many perfect sexual scenarios have you been in? And you're like looking at somebody, and you're like, our bodies fit perfect. And that's not made up. That's a real thing. Have you ever been in a relationship where, like, no matter which position you cuddle in, it just, everybody fits correctly?
Yeah, or like the pheromones. I'm really big on smells, and like certain people's smells just get me.
Right. You're like the person's covered in sweat, and they're like, I feel gross. And you're like, Ed, there's nothing sexier about you than right now. And the way that you smell and the way that you taste. That's not, we didn't make that up. That's a real, that's an outside factor. God made the pussy taste good. I didn't do that.
Give us a clip for a reason,
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And to some effect, even my relationship with my dog is contingent upon the fact that she can find a wedge that she can cuddle into. And it's like we said you pitched me before this whole thing that you're into geometry, and the geometry of the human body is perfect. It's fantastic. Even the way a hand can fit together, it's real and it's poetic. Yeah.
This is beautiful.
Are you an only child? It sounds like you're an only child.
I have an older sister.
An older sister. And so
Yeah.
are your parents much older than you guys? Did they start late?
My mom just hit 51.
Okay.
So
I guess that's about right. Do we know well, you want to tell us your real age? I know in porn and in acting you want to have like a range. What's your porn age?
I've always said my real age. I didn't know.
Is that right?
Yeah. I'm 27.
You're 27. So that's about right. Your mom was, am I doing this right? Your mom was 20 when she had 20-ish when she had you, 23 when she had you.
Yeah.
So it's pretty young. That's pretty young. Yeah.
Yeah, like, and then they moved to America, and it's like, here I am, almost 30, and like I have a dog and a 1-bedroom apartment. Like, just what she's done at that age versus what I've done is completely, like, I just can't live up to her.
It's not, we don't have the same goals as that generation. And when we look at the world, you were talking about a minute ago about how there might be an 8.1 on the Richter scale, and you got to get on the roof because there's a tidal wave coming. If you got to grab like 11 children like they were having in the 30s and your dog, then it's not going to work out. It's not going to work out. Actually, and it wasn't the 30s. We were talking about the Great Depression before. It wasn't the 30s. Like the last time anybody had like 11 kids was in Utah because they're Mormon and they're putting them to work. And in 1900, because you weren't sure how many of these kids. It was like the Oregon Trail. You weren't sure how many of these kids were going to make it.
5, yeah.
So it's a whole different vibe, and it's very scary to even think about bringing a child around into the world at this point in time. That was always the thing. I'm in my late 30s, and it was always like one of these things where it's like, well, do you not like kids? And I love kids. I'm a godfather multiple times over, but I was looking at the world, and I was like, I don't think we should be adding people right now.
Mm-mm. It's getting scarier and scarier. Like, I can't.
Holistic is the word I wanted before. The holistic approach of eating.
Holistic lifestyle, Ayurvedic, holistic. Yep.
So you're pro marijuana. Are you? So when you put the drops into things that you're eating, is that a CBD thing or a THC thing?
It's a both thing, I guess.
It's a combo deal.
Yeah.
Are you one of these people that separates the two and focuses on things like, well, if your muscles need to relax, you need to.
I would prefer like CBD, but I haven't found a hookup for that yet. So I just get like pounds of trim from Oregon. That's all I use. I don't really know.
Yeah, the whole coast, right? Washington, Oregon, and California are all legal states.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah. When I was a kid, I smoked weed in like middle school and high school, like just to be badass a little bit. And then I stopped because I don't like to like be inebriated. And then now I'm kind of dabbing back into it, but like in a not destructive mindset.
Right.
So.
Right. It was a cool thing to do. Yeah. I've always been a paranoid. What's the other word I want? It's like a consequences dude. Neurotic. I'm very neurotic. So I was always, anytime there was like a substance involved, I was like, is this going to be permanent? Like that's always been my vibe. So I'm always just like stayed away from that kind of stuff. Especially when that was the thing, it was like, oh, I'm doing it because I want to relax. I want it to be like a social lubricant. It's like, if you don't want to be yourself, you should be able to do that naturally. Yeah.
People use excuses to justify their marijuana use, and I'm like, okay, you have anxiety. This is just covering it up. Why don't you deal with it?
Right.
You know, don't use it as just to numb yourself from your problems. It's only going to get worse. Sorry, I interrupted you.
No, please. I talk far too much. I think a lot of life is overcoming your own neuroses and weird things, whatever they are, and figuring out a way, and blaming and using other substances to do it. It's not the move. I probably would have been, if I was born 3 years later, I would probably been forced to be on Ritalin as a child.
Most boys are now because the parents don't want to discipline them, or they just don't want them being rowdy. But that's testosterone. That's you're just being a boy.
Break shit. That's what we're supposed to do for a while.
Right.
Women emotionally get into your heart as a child, and men just break shit because we don't know what to do. And then eventually we both stabilize
Wow.
and
Yeah.
figure out
That's
how to be,
normal.
yeah, and figure out how to be adult human beings.
Now kids are just zombied out, and it's just horrible.
Yeah,
I'm
Doug,
worried about the next generation because it's just getting worse and worse, like this vicious cycle of.
I talked to somebody yesterday who said their child wakes up at 6 a.m. so that she can get on the iPad 2 hours before. Just so her child has 2 hours into the iPad before 8 a.m. And that's wild. That's a wild thing. There's a comedian who's gotten into some trouble lately, so I won't say his name, but the joke is still solid. And he said, shut the TV off when your kids are watching TV. See what their reaction is without saying anything. Just shut it off in the middle of the program. The reaction is like, ah, 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 ah. He's like, that's not healthy. That's not.
Like I get parents saying like, go play outside and all that. But my parents did that to me growing up, but now I kind of. Not resentful. I'm a little upset because now our world is so computer driven and technology that's like I feel like if I was able to blossom into that more as a child, like I wanted to, I could have been something else. But now since my parents are like, oh, go play outside instead, get off technology, it's bad. Now I'm just not advanced in.
I don't think that's true. You run a very successful Twitter and OnlyFans, and then in the process, you figured out that you should also give your mind and body a bicycle ride multiple times a week. I think you figured it out. I think you're on the right side of this thing.
Like some kids are really great at video games, and like watch your kid be a programmer when they grow up. Don't like say that what they're doing is bad. Like you don't know what their future. But, their passions are going to be. I don't know if you should would withhold them and tell them to go play outside. Yeah, balance is important, but also feed their passions and don't tell them that they're bad. I don't know.
Yes, here's my only counter. Some of that was created in response in to like fulfill a need. So like one of the things we found out on doing a lot of trips on the road where we were inviting veterans and giving veterans tickets, we got to interact with a lot of people that were former military people. And one of the guys that we met someplace in like Missouri or Iowa or something was telling us that a part of his job at one point was recruiting successful gamers to the military so that they could operate drones.
Oh, shit.
And so he would go on like Twitch and like find like the best people or whatever the PlayStation standings, whatever the Xbox, right? And he would recruit those people into the military. So to a degree, that's not a natural skill. That's, it's like at the end of the day, I love being on stage. I love being a comedian. I love being able to connect with people and find the universal truth of life and try and chip away at some tragedy by using comedy as a tool. But I would go live on a farm and raise goats and grow my own crap so fast. And you can't learn that. You can learn that skill, but you're not going to fall in love with nature at 40. You got to do it at like 7, and you got to find your independence. That's the big thing, is when you go outside and when you were forced to go outside, you found independence as a child. And some people never find that. And that's the worst one. I love talking to you. I don't know that that a 90-minute episode is what people want. So I'm gonna have to have you on another episode. But in the meantime, how do they find you? How do they follow you? How do they subscribe to your OnlyFans? Tell us.
My Twitter is ELENAKOSHKAXOXO, and my Instagram is The Real Elena Koshka. And all my links are in there.
And I'll put all your links. Send me everything. I'll put all your links in the comments here. This is Porn Stars with People Podcast. We're on Google Play, iTunes, whatever other ones that you use. We're on SoundCloud. We're on YouTube today with our episode. Wonderful episode where we get to see Elena's plants and her dog and her eating habits. So check that out on YouTube if you're only listening to us. We drop a new episode every Monday. Appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. This episode drops Monday. I'm going to send you all the links and such and so forth. Please subscribe to her and subscribe to this podcast if you like what you saw and heard. Thank you.